Welcome to our Yurtiful Life podcast. In today's episode, we will be talking about routines.
Hey there, Yurties!
Thanks for joining us today. For anyone new here, I'm Keegan.
And I'm Sarah. We've been living a minimal off-grid lifestyle for over 10 years now.
We have a large family and lots of experiences to share.
So let's get to it. Welcome to
Our Yurtiful Life.
So today we're discussing routines, our family's routines, and why routines matter and why they are, in general, a good idea to have. So, Keegan, why do routines actually matter?
Well, first of all, they're healthy for the brain. Different studies that we have read have talked about how the human brain is wired, it craves routine. So giving your brain certain set routines will help you to relax and to be less anxious and to be able to be more productive.
That's right. And especially with the neurodiversity aspect, consistency is a huge key part of that. And children also, in general, crave consistency and routine, and they do much better academically and socially when they have a consistent routine in the home.
And that's because neurodiversity does not like surprises or the unknown. So having established patterns or things you've already can predict helps the body to relax and helps the brain to not become overstimulated.
Our brains are wired to recognize patterns and to predict what happens next. And when you have, especially a neurodiverse brain, that is working overtime most of the time, it really helps to have very clear predictions and patterns in your life. And so that brings us to routines in general. Now, routines can be very rigid routines, they can be very loose, and you have to find what works best for you and the season of life you're in. There was a time in my life where I had a very rigid routine, almost down to the minute. I knew exactly what I was doing for every moment of the day. I had my planner filled out every hour. This is what I'm doing. And I've come to find that at certain times of your life, that may work for you and may be what you need. But other times, you do need to have a looser routine and schedule. And with us and our neurodiverse family and the season of life we're in, we have to embrace a looser routine at this point in time. Now you can have building blocks of time, a general loose schedule you follow, or you could use the top 3 things to accomplish to win the day. Those are all forms of routine, and you just need to find what works best for you. Keegan, for your past with routines, how has that morphed or changed over the years for you?
So I used to have routines were made for me growing up. So I had routine without realizing it to some degree. I think everyone goes through that as children. If you have parents that try to create structure for you in your life. And then once I was in college, I made self routines, and also the schedule kind of was my routine. So it was again made for me to some degree. It wasn't until actually that I got married and we kind of were doing our own thing that we started. It was the first time I needed to kind of create my own routine and be more creative with the routine. And I find that I naturally am more relaxed in my routine. I have certain things I like to do in a certain order I like to do them, but exactly when I do them, that can fluctuate. It's not really set in a certain time of day.
And I think a lot of the craving, the need for routine goes above and beyond what a neurotypical person would experience. I have routines throughout my day, but there are certain things, if I do not get to them, I can proceed with my day. But having ADHD and autism and OCD, we've learned that it comes very difficult, if not impossible, for Keegan to move past certain aspects of his day if certain parts of the routine are not followed. He can flex the time of that routine slightly, but he can mentally not move forward if that routine is not followed. And that's something we've learned.
Yeah, so much mental processing power is spent, probably the OCD aspect of it, spent focusing or dwelling on the thing you didn't do that you usually do, that it's better just to do it and then be able to move on. It's very hard to just mentally move on. There's times you have to make yourself do that, but I can tell I'm not as efficient, I'm not as focused, I'm not as...
And your mind constantly goes back to what part of your routine didn't get accomplished.
It's a cyclical, it can be a damaging thing, and that's the OCD and autistic aspect. But these routines also provide security and decrease anxiety. So if they're healthy routines, that's important, making healthy routines, then they help you in the day.
So I want to go through having a large family. There's a lot of things that have to happen every day to keep the household running, to keep the homestead going. And I want to go through kind of a little bit of what our routine generally looks like. We get up in the morning, everyone has our prayer devotion time. Either one of the older children or Keegan or I spend time praying and reading scripture with the littles. And then it's time to get dressed, make our beds, teeth, vitamins, whatever that needs to happen, chores getting done. All of that is first in the morning. And usually, while everyone is doing chores, Mama's trying to make breakfast and get everybody going in the right direction. With regards to meals, we tend to have a general flexible meal time. No set, this time is when we have served breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I generally shoot for certain specific times of day, but we try to be a little bit flexible with the actual times. After each meal, we try to make sure dishes are completely done after each meal, which really helps when you have a big family and also don't want to have a huge inventory of extra dishes. And try to, not always, but we strive for making sure the sink is empty before bed, the kitchen's cleaned, and the sink is empty. So that way the next morning is easier for whoever's making breakfast, which is generally mama. Not always, though. Sometimes, especially in the wintertime, daddy's up and doing the stove, so it's not difficult for him to start a pot of oatmeal and have that ready as well.
Yep.
Uh,
Also,
Go ahead.
Also, laundry is a big part of that. You can imagine with being a large family that we have a lot of laundry items. So Sarah's way of tackling it has been that one load a day.
And I know some people save it for laundry day, but again, trying to live with a little bit less inventory, doing one load a day works perfectly for us. And then on Shabbats, I don't do any laundry. And very rarely, I will need to do a second load um, someday throughout the week if there were accidents, potty training, etc. So we tend to do one load a day, and that means wash it and hang it up and then put away whatever laundry was from the day before. We air
Dry. Yeah.
dry all of our laundry, hang it on the clothesline outside or on racks inside. And so when it's dry, it gets put in a basket, sorted for upstairs, downstairs, and put away. And it just really overall, we have quite a smooth system, so it doesn't take long at all. We also try to add in the daily routine sweeping the house, doing at least one 15-minute pickup usually in the afternoons, and just everybody go through, timer set for 15 minutes, and we clean all the toys, pick everything up, do a just quick general cleanup and make everything reset. Usually this happens after school and before free play. We talked in the past in another episode about meal planning and for routines, what our part of our meal planning routine is. And part of our routine with meal planning and meals is sourdough and sauerkraut. I make sourdough on pretty much a daily basis, fresh sourdough bread. And so that is a constant process. And sauerkraut as well. I have that going on a monthly basis, about a half gallon of sauerkraut every month I make. And that's a ongoing process. We tend to eat the sauerkraut with one meal of the day, and it's just a good way to boost our gut health and part of our regular routine.
Another large part of our routines are schooling. Schooling is factored in as part of our routine. We're not unschoolers. We consider it important that they do have book learning and curriculum learning. So we start with our core, the reading, writing, and arithmetic or math. These core foundations being established and being taught to them. Also, Sarah tries to do a library trip. Sometimes I can attend with the children, sometimes I can't, but they try to do a library trip to the local library at least once a month, especially when we have better weather in summer times. This is a way to get out there and be able to get more resources. Also, music. We have piano and guitars and the children are Sarah's going through some of her old books, I think, from when she was taught piano. So the children are able to learn piano lessons through her and then on their own. So that's been very good to see. Arts and crafts is a favorite time with my children for sure. Just a time to express their creativity. We do have some videos they might use where an artist is showing how to draw certain designs or copy after me. So that gives them some structure as well. And then workout time, kind of a PE, if you will. This can range anywhere from a little karate session, teaching the basics of karate, or can be just general running around, wrestling, these kind of things.
The girls are big into dance, and so we have several dance DVD instructions for them. And overall, schooling is a big part of our day, every day. And even if we're not doing technically book work, we do believe every day is a day for learning. And so we incorporate school in a number of ways. And we will do a podcast on more details and specifics of homeschooling in the future. But yeah, homeschooling is a big part of our routine every single day. And in the summer and fall, or summer into the early fall before the school season starts, we're still doing educational things, even if we're not necessarily hitting the books quite as hard.
Well, like right now, for instance, the littles are down for a nap as we record this, but our older children are doing some of their school. They're doing some book work right now and doing coloring, drawing, filling in, writing sentences.
So, schooling is a huge part of our daily routine. And another part of our routine is work and Keegan's business, which is a little bit more flexible of our routine, but that really does work well in our lifestyle.
So work for me because I am self-employed, and what I do is away from the house, out at other people's houses. It depends on when jobs come in. So there's definitely busy seasons. Summer tends to be much busier than winter, as you can imagine. So that allows us to schedule jobs ahead of time. When new clients come in or people need work done, I'm able to schedule them out for what fits our schedule and what Sarah or the children might need me for at any day of the week.
And with that, again, looking at routines in general, we try to schedule his jobs on certain days of the week and bigger jobs on certain days of the week, smaller jobs on other days. And when he has jobs, he knows this is the time frame that he works best at. So as long as it works for the client, he tends to shoot for that time range. And that again builds routine into our day. Now, regarding the podcast, we are still working on trying to get a decent routine with this.
Trying to nail that one down. We haven't figured out exactly a sweet spot for us when we should record.
I think the biggest problem with that is while we have routine nap times, it's not always dependable when you have teething toddlers and livestock and random things going on and coming up all the time. For us, we have yet to be able to definitively say this time every week is when we sit and podcast. But we do make it work, and we work it into our weekly routine, even if it is not a set time and schedule. And then another important part of any routine is sleep. That is probably the most important part of your day. And so we do try to maintain a somewhat regular sleep cycle.
Particularly for the children.
Specifically, the children have a set bedtime. We do fluctuate it slightly for the older children, depending on where they are at and if they're showing that they are able to stay up later or if they do need to go to bed a little earlier. So that flexes a little bit. And for Keegan and I, we try to stick with a somewhat normal bedtime. But for Keegan, especially with the winter and keeping wood stoves going and coal stove, it really does fluctuate his sleep routine at this point in time. So it's something to strive for. It's something we have on here because it is very important if you can have a routine and a set schedule. But again, life happens and we do the best we can with what we have. So regarding schedules, it is very important to have a routine, to have some sort of consistency in your life. Make a list of what you want to accomplish each day. And if you're in the season where you block it out every hour, then great. If you need to be more loose with your schedule and just give yourself a list of this generally needs to happen today, that works too. For us, as far as the homesteading, we have the chores and things that happen, and even just general life. We have so many things that need to happen every day. I have my non negotiables: getting the dishes done, getting the laundry done, doing at least a 5-minute pickup, generally 15. Those to me are non negotiables in life to run the house. Now, we also, in overarching days, we tend to have a 3 list thing of what do we need to accomplish as a family, as a homestead to make forward progress today. And these would be above and beyond those 3 things I mentioned before. So these may be, we need to get this project done today, or we need to get school and nature group done today, whatever it may be. We tend to pick just 1 to 3 things that this is our overarching goal to accomplish today to feel like we made forward progress. And that is our center of the day routine. So, some mantras that we have found extremely helpful in our day to day life and our routines are 2 of them come from the Minimal Mom on YouTube, and really appreciate Dawn and her content. And those 2 mantras we've learned from her are 5 minutes matters and foundations first. Again, foundations are things like cleaning your counters, getting the dishes done, load of laundry a day, picking up your floors, getting dressed for the day. Those are your foundations. So if we are getting our foundations done first and building those foundations, then we can grow and develop and continue to create habits and routines. And then 5 minutes matters. Even on the worst day that you're having, just spending 5 minutes doing the tasks you don't want to do does make a difference and moves forward progress. So those have been extremely helpful to me, especially, and I think to Keegan as well, in learning to get up and do and create healthy routines in our life. 2 of my other favorite mantras or sayings come from Cass at Clutterbug, and it is, we just sometimes need to do things shitty and get it done. And the other thing is get mo done, or good enough to move on. And I really just appreciate those things because it helps me on days when, as a mom, I really want to perfectly do these things, but I just can't. And realizing sometimes these are good enough, let's move on, getting it more done, and helping to keep forward motion in our daily routine.
And I found this, particularly these 2, help me as well, even on jobs. I'm a perfectionist, so that can really slow me down at times. And it's good to be a perfectionist when it matters. It's a horrible thing when it's on a minor point that really doesn't matter. Spending an extra 5 minutes, is it really going to make a world of difference in the actual outcome of the repair or whatever it is? If the answer is no, then you need to be able to push yourself and move forward, and then spend that time on the parts that do matter, where it will make a difference. So that's helped me as an autistic individual and a a fine point focused individual to try to differentiate and prioritize when it really matters to be that detailed and when it doesn't.
So I guess overall, the general idea of this whole episode that and the takeaway we hope you have is routines are great. They are wonderful for our families. It's good for our brains. It helps our families function smoothly and if everyone knows what to expect when. However, you need to find the best routine for you, your family, and your life circumstances. Also, you need to have grace with yourself that seasons change and routines change, and that's okay. If we can embrace some of these ideas, if we can create a little bit more structure to our life without being a perfectionist when it comes to structure, we can increase our productivity and increase our relaxation and give our brain more comfort and more peace.
So routine is important for a healthy life. It provides that balance and that knowing where you're going into before you get there, so that when things do pop up in your life, especially as a neurodiverse individual, you're better able to handle them and prepared to be able to get through that issue.
Well, it's about time to wrap this up.
So please like, share, subscribe, and join our email list.
And don't forget, go out,
dream big,
and discover your own
Yurtiful
life.